settle down. Alongside me, 2003 World Cup winners Matt Dawson and Paul Grayson. And I do feel we have spent a huge amount of energy talking about the half-back pairings. We've talked about Marcus Smith at 15. But in this match in particular, we have to remember there's England players who have not featured yet in this World Cup, and they are looking to impress today. Perhaps they can get a sniff of a starting shirt somewhere.
Absolutely, and push themselves forward for selection. You do all that training. Some World Cups are very short on minutes for some players. Every time you put on an England shirt, it's an opportunity to impress and do the things you've been practicing, do the things you grew up dreaming to do. Wear the white shirt with pride, play the best that you can.
One player that has always caught the eye and flickered a little bit of everyone's interest is Henry Arundel Matt Dawson. He, of course, scored that try on his debut out in Australia last year. He's had a bit of a back spasm that's kept him out, but he's a young man with a lot of potential.
Yeah, there's no question that England will want to get the ball in Arundel's hands, not only early, but frequently. And give him an opportunity. Even here we go, even from the kickoff, it looks like it's going towards Arundel's side. It's really important that these youngsters, and not just the youngsters, the people that have not played in the World Cup yet, they get off to a positive start, a good catch, a good line-out, good scrum, nice break, big hit, big tackle, just to settle it down and get into the patterns that you practice during the week.
Well, Owen Farrell has the ball in his hands. It'll be England that'll be kicking us off, but they were just told by the referee that they had to hold back and wait. So they're now getting back into starting formation and they're waiting for the countdown. England will be travelling from left to right in this first half, wearing their home white kit. Chile wearing their red and blue, waiting on the right-hand side of the field to receive. Finally, our referee of South Africa, Jaco Peyper, is about ready to get us underway. He did, of course, do the opening match of the World Cup at the Stade de France between France and New Zealand, and getting another run out now. As you can hear, the big countdown has started. The crowd will play their part. Not quite capacity here in Lille, but not far off it. As we get underway, it's England against Chile in Lille, Pool D of the Rugby World Cup. As the ball comes down for Chile, just inside of their own 22, Ignacio Silva. You'll hear a lot of the word Selkenham throughout this whole commentary, because that is the main club that all of these sides play for. It's the Super Rugby Americas team. There's 7 clubs that go up and down the North and South Americas, and that is the main side of Chile that they all feature in. As Smith receives the ball on the halfway, sends it down the line, and Elliot Daly with some footwork approaching the Chilean 10-metre line. Pop back ball. Kerr gives quick ball now to Kyle Sinclair. England attacking now inside of the Chilean half, and as it's pushed towards the left-hand wing, it's a miscommunication, all the things that England wanted to get rid of, but it's going to be a loose hand in there from Chile, so we'll scrum down with an England ball. Matt Dawson.
Conditions are so good. All the chat so far this tournament has, from the players actually, how difficult it's been, the temperatures, and particularly in the south of France. I know the opening game obviously was in Paris, and they struggled too with how sweaty the shirts and shorts, hands, and therefore the ball was. But my goodness me, this is perfect. Not a breath. Lovely blue sky, dry ball. And we saw some initial intent there, Grace, from England. Elliot Daly getting the ball in the hands. Nice step inside, looking to link a little bit.
Straighten the line and go around the corner. Early touch, early settler for Marcus Smith. Caught the high ball, immediately whipped it into Farrell, who gave it onto Daly and used the whip.
Well, it's a scrum that goes straight down to the ground. It's just going to be reset by Marius Jonker. Just a reminder of the 2 front rows. Bevan Rod of Sale is at 1. Saracens' Theo Dan, who really is the World Cup bolter, you have to say, in this England setup, after he impressed so much when he came on quite early for Saracens in that Premiership final after Jamie George got a head knock. His star has risen very quickly, and then Kyle Sinclair, the more experienced of the 3 for England. For Chile, you've got Salvador Luis, Angosto Bome, and then Matthias Deitus, who are in that front row. Deitus, he does actually play his rugby here in France. He was nominated as the Chilean Player of the Year in 2022, so big expectations for him, but it looks like it's going to be a free kick for England after a second scrum goes down to the ground. I'm not sure if we can hear any more from our referee, Marius Jonker, about what is going on. I think his communication is down at the moment, so we will get that checked as soon as we can. And England have decided that they want to scrum down again. Are they biding their time for a penalty here, Paul Grayson?
Want to scrum, get settled, want to play away from it, get into some a first phase strike move and then get into their patterns of play. It's a perfect launch pad. The scrum's 6 metres in from the left-hand touchline, 30 metres out. They've got the whole width of the field to play with. They want to go under their own steam, under their own control.
Okay, so here's a third time we've seen this scrum engage. It's a big push from England. Chile going backwards. It is released in the end at the back by Vunipola. It's gathered by Malins, who's caught by the Chilean player. Marcus Smith has to think very quickly to send Arundel off and away down this right wing. Big handoff comes in from Arundel, and he's done really well there, the young man, to hold on to England's ball. Big pressure was raining down on them. England on the attack now, halfway line. Has to throw it back to Lawrence. He's still going forward. Good tackles coming in by Chile, but they're not quite completed, so Lawrence manages to make an extra 5 or so metres. Penalty advantage now, as we can now hear our referee, Marius Jonker. He decides to snipe round the corner. He gets a little bit of a tip tackle. Eventually he's brought down. It's a mess on the floor, but an England penalty. And a warning there against Marais Daitis, and England with an early opportunity at sticks.
Yeah, that was... I'm not seeing that as a penalty. Danny Kerr was doing some fantastic corner flagging there, hoping that Ori Lawrence would make the break and he could link in the middle of the field. But of course he's then in front of the ball. When the ruck went down, he had to run from the Chile side back to his team. And quite rightly, the Chile player stood his ground and bumped him away as if to say, get out of here. And the referee's given a penalty to England. So take that all day. Owen Farrell bangs it into the corner, and another fabulous opportunity for England to strike.
I think there's a bit of a sigh of relief from all the England fans as well, that England have kicked this down into the corner. So pressure on Theo Dan, 7 or 8 metres out, manages to find Ribbons in the air. Here comes the first real England attacking platform as they approach the Chilean line. About 7 or 8 metres still to travel as they maul this one forward. It's at the back at the moment. Danny Kerr is just tracking back with it. It's under the arm of Sinclair. They manage to release Lawrence through the middle of the park. He goes down. Kerr with a quick distribution. A nice work out to Smith. Smith with a little dink through. Arundel is chasing, but it's going to be Chile. I think they took it over into the area. And it's going to be a scrum then to England, 5 metres out.
Yeah, I'm not going to say I'm a fan of that. Marcus Smith didn't need to kick through, was a miracle kick under that pressure, which I know if there's one player on our team, on England's team, that can do it, maybe it's him, but just didn't need to.
He put the hitch kick on, made the break for the outside. He actually drew the last Argentinian defender in slightly. He could have given the ball to Arundel, who would have had a shot for the line.
Well, if you're just joining us, it's England 0, Chile 0 here at the Rugby World Cup. 5 minutes on the clock, and we've got a scrum at the moment, 5 metres out from the Chilean line. England ball 5 metres from the near side touch as well. So England camped out down in this corner. They've had a little bit of credit after the last set of scrums that they had. So Marius Jonker will be keeping a close eye on this one. He's going to reset there, so let's just listen in.
Clearly. Okay. It's their ball. I know he doesn't speak English. He has to be in the gap. Okay. Non-feeding team in the gap. Okay. Thank you. In between the head, not head on egg.
Okay, so Augusto Bomé is just passing on all of the information there to Matthias Daitis, who is going up against Bevan Rod. So that is the most experienced prop who's actually on the field for Chile. He's been given those instructions as they pack down once again. Danny Kerr still keeping a close eye. Now, the England attack are all very tight at the moment. The backs are just keeping themselves in one little pocket. Quite how they're going to fan out if the ball does come to them, we'll have to see. Billy Vunipola just keeping that long, wide base. It's a penalty advantage to England from the scrum. Is it going to be picked and gathered? No, it's just a penalty for now.
Yeah, all bunched in the middle, the England backs, apart from Max Malins, who was right on the left-hand touchline, fully 50 metres away from everybody else. A mute point as England kept the ball in the scrum, won the penalty, now kick for the corner and presumably go for a maul.
Yeah, not that it's likely to happen, but you feel that England just need to, when it comes to set-piece scrummage particularly, just hold it.
Dan gets the ball in, Ribbons is the recipient, and here comes the England maul. It's looking strong, it's crabbing slowly a metre at a time. Now it's collapsed down on the floor. Kerr gets it out, looks up, manages to find Farrell. Farrell now to Smith. He's put the big hitch kick in, manages to pass that wide. Malins can't take it. Arguably, Smith could have got there himself. And they're going to say that's gone out of play on the far side. There may be an option for a knock-on before it happened, but I doubt Chile will want to scrum at the moment.
Option, line out of scrum.
Sorry, yeah. If you're England on your own ball here, scrum time,
Not give you touch, line out, take it.
it's just about holding the set piece so that you can launch the backs. Because it's not that it's a lottery. England are going to be dominant, but you know where's the benefit? The benefit for this England side is ball in play, get some practice, get an 80-minute training session.
8 minutes played. England 0, Chile 0. Chilean line out taken by their captain Sugren in the air. And you have to know this about Chile. They love running with the ball in their own 22. It takes them a long time to kick it away. Eventually it does go back to Fernandez. He sends it down the right-hand touch. Hasn't made touch either, so Malins gathers for England, attacking now in the Chilean half between the 10 and the 22. Stolen by Chile. Nice work in the end by Garafulic, the centre. He's got support by his captain as well. Passes out to the far side. Chile have scored early in all of the games they've played so far. Maybe they could now. Wonderful work by the South Americans as they attack now, approaching the England 22. This is the first time we've really seen them in full flight. Pushing out now to Fernandez, who scored the World Rugby Try of the Year last year. Ball comes back. Sugren again, the captain, is all action for the time being. Support coming in by fellow back row Silva. And this time we see Daitis, the big tight head, working his way forwards. It's loose ball though, gathered by Lawrence. Smith now has it for England, who's in a little bit of a tricky spot, not really got too much support. Wasn't quite sure how he was going to exit that one. Eventually a few more forwards arrive to help him out. Ball comes back this time. Taken by Rod. Rod goes down to ground. England are still 10 metres out from their own try line here. It's still 0-0 here in Lille. As Danny Kerr eventually slows things down. I mean, England's ruck speed is incredibly slow at this World Cup. It's one of the slowest of all of the countries. And it's from moments like that when they will take their time inside their 22 to exit. It's outside of the 22, but a Chilean line-out.
Yeah, brilliant counter-attack from the turnover there for Chile. Down that right-hand side, lovely interplay, put England, really stretch England, put them under pressure. England scrambled well, and then Owen Farrell got that sort of one-arm rip tackle that he likes to do to turn the ball back over. England looked really solid defense. I know there was a nice break from Chile, but England do look pretty solid indeed.
Here come England on the counter after Chile fluff their lines at the line-out, and it's Arundel coming down this right wing, passes it back inside, but passes it to the wrong colour shirt, manages to find Saavedra, the outside centre for Chile, instead of a white shirt. Big kick, because there's no one at home in the backfield for England. Really well by the Chileans. A bounce of a rugby ball could determine what happens here. Eventually it ends up in Owen Farrell's hands. A little bit of a spin from him. Nobody knew he could dance quite like that as the ball now goes to ground through ribbons, and you're hearing a few boos and whistles going around the crowd now. They want to see more from this England team. They have bigger expectations as we now have 10 minutes on the clock and no score in Lille. Kerr, middle of the field, still just inside of the England half. Manages to push it back now to Martin. He tries to use his long levers just to get another couple of inches, but this is such slow ball from England. I mean, they were quite clear in the build-up to this match that the game plan would be exactly the same, and so far that's exactly what we've got. Danny Kerr, the long caterpillar, comes back. Box kick in then by the Harlequins scrum half. Ball landing inside of Chilean territory. A little bit of footwork comes in by Rodrigo Fernandez. Nickname is Yo-Yo, but I'm also told everyone called Rodrigo and Chile is called Yo-Yo as we get a bit of a breakaway towards the halfway there by the Chileans. Saavedra, he manages to push forwards. Don't forget, of course, that Five Live sports section, the BBC Sport website, is your home of the Rugby World Cup in 2023. As again, Chile are trying to break away down the far side of the field here. They've made a good 10 or 15 metres from where they actually started in the first phase of play. England are managing to slow down the ball, but it's still Chilean possession. And nice work there through the forwards, this time taking on by the big second row Saavedra again, twin brother of Domingo. There's actually 4 sets of brothers in this Chilean side that have come to this World Cup between the whole 33. Ludlam is in there, he's trying to poach that one, and he's got the ball as well. So in the end, it's Chile killing their own ball, and England get the penalty.
And it's Chile playing the more enterprising rugby. More coherent, more cohesive, playing what's in front of them, moving the ball into space, passes inside when it's on, moving the ball out to the width with the over-the-top pass to their right winger. Max Malins needs to get his head in the game. So far, he's had one carry, been stripped of the ball. Full fend and beaten for pace on the outside. Chile playing with, like they got nothing to lose and playing very well.
Yeah, they're playing what's in front of them. Their ruck speed's good. They know that if they slowed down the rucks, they're going to be taken to the cleaner. So they're gambling, and it's working really well for them. England could just do with taking a leaf out of their book.
England 5-man line out functions well. They feed Billy Vunipola, who wasn't involved in it, to go forwards. Chile just have to be a little bit careful with their discipline around the ruck as the ball goes in for England once again. Our referee Jaco Piper is there, keeping a very close eye on what is going on. England 10 metres out now from the Chilean line. Martin has it now. He goes down to ground as the big Leicester second row. We're going to be joining BBC Radio 5 Live in 1 minute's time. Still 0-0 here in Lille. You won't have any interruption in the commentary here for the time being. We're keeping an eye on everything. It is going to be a Chilean penalty. The warning there going against England, and all of the effort, all of the bluster, it's Chile who come out on top.
Just needs a calm head and control here from England. I'm looking at Danny Kerr, I'm looking at Owen Farrell. You know, Owen Farrell's going to all the forwards and giving them a high five. They don't need a high five. Just need a little bit of organisation. They need some conversation about what they're doing well, but more importantly, just what needs tightening up.
We're about to join 5 Live now. England passing the ball back down the line. Farrell, Malins, Daly, still pushing forward. Where it's 0-0 here at the Rugby World Cup between England and Chile. England with an opportunity inside of the Chilean 22, but they knock on the ball. It's advantage to Chile as big tackles start raining down on the South Americans, but they'll come back for the first defence. It was a knock-on by England. We'll restart with a Chilean scrum, and so far England haven't really fired a decent shot. We have to remember England ranked 6th in the world right now, going up against Chile, the lowest ranked side in this competition. On their Rugby World Cup debut, they are holding their own at the moment. Matt Dawson.
I mean, fair play to Chile. They've had a few opportunities and they have taken them, and they have made good inroads into that England defence. Haven't been able to quite finish it off. And England at will are breaking the line, but they feel like, I don't know, they're not quite anticipating that last pass or that last break, or just need the opportunity to seal it.
The sense there's an over-eagerness to get the score in and get it done, as opposed to taking one more phase and getting a walk in. They're trying to fix the puzzle straight away.
England 0, Chile 0, and it's Chile who clear their lines down the far side of the field. A few times they've done this where they've fluffed their lines, they haven't found touch, and Marcus Smith, famously playing 15 in this match, if you haven't read any headlines in the build-up to this match, runs away down the left wing, manages to get it back inside. Farrell has to play a little bit more ball than he'd like, slightly out of position now. No one just managing to get in that first receiver position, and it's a miscommunication by England. How much have we said that in this World Cup? It's hacked on in the end by Chile. It's going to go out of play. It's almost a 50-22 for Chile. What a moment for them. They had it inside of their own half, and again, England cannot get the script correct. They can't find each other, and Chile get the line out inside of the England 22.
3 players to pass to off Owen Farrell's shoulder. He went for the outside man who just put his hands up. I think it was Carl Sinkel, let it go. Then Matthias Garelic, who's already stripped a ball and made a break, found the ball in his hands, belted it straight down the left-hand touchline from way inside his own half, and now Chile get the ball back 10 metres out from England's line, their line out.
Well, of course, 5 Live Sports Section, the BBC Sport website, the home of the Rugby World Cup in 2023. We're keeping across all of the games as we watch Chile now. Could they be the ones to score the first points in this match? 17 minutes played, England 0, Chile 0, and that's another line out that Chile have managed to muck up. They'll be so frustrated, but we've got a breakaway now for Saracens. Elliot Daly through the middle, he hacks on the ball. Max Malins is chasing, as is Cristobal Game of Chile. It's going to almost go out of play. Yes, it does go out of play. And that's a 50-22 for England. So anything you can do, Chile, we can do better.
Yeah, lovely hands from England. Good turnover, poor execution in the line out from Chile. Too many moving parts, and eventually I think they bamboozled each other with how many times they were dummying for the catch. straight over the top to Vili Vunipola, and that is the intent we want to see from England. 2 passes away from the trouble. Elliot Daly off and running. Shame he couldn't quite link with the hand, but still puts a great kick in for 50-20.
Far side of the field then, just inside of the Chilean 22. It's England on the attack with Vili Vunipola. Arundel getting involved, coming off his wing and looking for work. Big tackle goes in on Lawrence. I'm not sure quite if the referee will like that. Nearly took out Lawrence's legs. Referee says play on. It's Jaco Piper of South Africa who's in the middle with the whistle today. This is a real slow ruck for England to actually get some quick ball. Comes away this time to Theo Dan on his first start at this World Cup, the Saracens hooker. Danny Kerr tries to snipe round the corner himself, but Chile read that really well. And it's all the forwards who come round and support the scrum half. Still England ball. No score yet here in Lille. 0-0. Can finally England break the deadlock? They're powering over. Is it down? The referee's going to go and have a look. He's saying that's held up, but he's going to come back for an England penalty in front of the posts.
I think that's the 3rd or 4th snipe Danny Kerr's had. Just, to me, yes, there's going to be space. There will be opportunities for him to run, but 4 times in the first 18 minutes when England are searching for a bit of shape. It's too many for me, especially when one of them he made half a break, the other 3 he's made nothing. Means you lose your scrum half, means you lose your shape, slows the ruck ball down. Your forwards have to pick and go and recycle and takes the edge off the attack.
Well, there's no question that England have been given licence to go out and attack and play and put their individuality onto the game, but as we saw with Marcus Smith early on, just trying a little bit too hard. We spoke about it before the game, about picking your opportunities, playing as a team, destroying the opposition with the basics, and then you punish them when they can't defend like Chile are defending now for 80 minutes. But at the moment, there's too many individual options that England simply can't resist.
Well, England have got the scrum. They've also got the penalty from it as well straight away. Big pass out wide to Arundel. Arundel will break the deadlock. Finally, he touches down in the corner and England are on the board eventually. It's taken an awful long time, though. Nearly 20 minutes played. It's England 5, Chile 0.
Set play from England, not perfect. Horrendous mistake out wide from the last Chilean defender. I think they put Fernandez on the end, the fly half, as the scrum collapsed. Vunipola away to Farrell. Farrell lobbed the ball over the top. Yeah, the fly-off was on the wing, turned in, completely forgot that Arundel was outside him. That's the only problem when you switch defenders around like that. A walk-in, nothing spectacular from England, but on the board at last.
Yeah, and that's what we've sort of been harping on about, Grace, to be honest, is that the Chile are going to make some pretty basic errors because they're not used to playing at this sort of level. Simply, they just haven't had those types of fixtures. So a bit of patience, a bit of basics, good set piece, a real simple back row move to give the opportunity for Owen Farrell to find that pass. It's out there, it's easy, but it's got to be done in a united way.
Paul Grayson, Matt Dawson here with us on 5 Live, both 2003 World Cup winners with England, as we watch Owen Farrell line up this conversion, of course back from his 4-game ban, uses his right boot and that one has not connected. It's gone to the left-hand side of the uprights as we now check in on the cricket. Of course, it's that one-day international between England and Ireland at Trent Bridge. Nikesh Rugani. Thank you so much. Well, here at the Rugby World Cup, it's England 5, Chile 0. Just waiting for Chile to get back underway. But let's run you through the day's sports headlines. Rodri was sent off for Manchester City, but they beat Nottingham Forest earlier today 2-0. Luton had their first point of the season. They drew 1-1 with a 10-man Wolves outfit. And it wasn't a classic at Selhurst Park. It finished Crystal Palace 0, Fulham 0, as England just break away down this near side through Lewis Ludlam. That one will go to ground. Don't forget that, of course, Brentford against Everton. That one is kicking off at 5:30 here on 5 Live. If you want to keep across the rugby, head over to the BBC Sport website. And then later this evening, it will be Burnley taking on Manchester United. That one at 8 o'clock. At the same time, of course, on 5 Live, we'll be keeping a close eye, or have full commentary, in fact, of Ireland against South Africa. Staying with the football, Celtic beat Livingston 3-0 to stay 3 points clear at the top of the Scottish Premiership. Leicester are top of the Championship after they beat Bristol City 1-0. Ipswich are second, they beat Blackburn 4-3. Previous leaders Preston were held by Rotherham. Norwich, were thumped 6-2 by Plymouth, an important win for Middlesbrough. They beat Southampton 2-1. League One leaders, Portsmouth beat Lincoln 2-1. Notts County are top of League Two after a 4-3 win over Forest Green Rovers. And as you've just been hearing, England are on course to win the one-day international against Ireland at Trent Bridge. And don't forget, do head to the BBC Sport website for the latest on the Solheim Cup Day 2. We'll keep you across all of those events as well in the next half hour. But we're watching England at the moment at the World Cup. They are mauling this one away towards the line. Is this going to be a second try? They've got penalty advantage as well. They're trying to direct the ball over the line. The try is given over the line by Theo Dan, who scores his first try at the Rugby World Cup. Big effort there for the young man. Only his 6th cap today, and over the line as finally England appear to have their groove. Paul Grayson.
Trace it all back to the kick-off. Chile kicked deep. Billy Vunipola carried the ball in with Ollie Lawrence off his shoulder. Then England played wide. Farrell took the ball to the line, went behind the forwards to Smith. Smith skipped out to Daly. Daly to Ludlam. Ludlam on the charge. He didn't quite make the break. Farrell went to the air and there was a penalty infringement. Uros, the fullback, went up for the challenge and it was caught ahead of him, so England got a penalty. Kick to the corner. And of course they scored the maul. The more important bit for me is how they got out of their own half, showed a bit of enterprise, had a little bit of shape, could have carried on playing but went to the air better.
It's going to be desperately tough for Chile. I think really, from Chile's perspective, they needed to have some kind of way into the game, and they had a couple of opportunities. Even if they got 3 points or 6 points, maybe even nicked a try, gives you such an adrenaline surge. Whereas now, all of a sudden, that calmness and methodical, machine-like England team seem to be just feet on the ground. Okay, this is how we need to do it. Let's just calm everything down. They are going to give penalties to us. We can kick down there. We'll drive them over. Before you know, it's 20 points. And then floodgates open. That's the process.
Now Owen Farrell has kicked that conversion, so it's England 12, Chile 0. The scoreboard is starting to tick, and something we will be keeping a little bit of a close eye on is how many points are racked up by Owen Farrell. He's closing in on Johnny Wilkinson's all-time record. Wilkinson has 1,179, and with those extra 2 points, Farrell is now up to 1,164. So it's now a 17-point game to equal. As the ball just goes into contact there by England. Comes back now to Farrell, high one from him. Farrell no doubt will be looking to seriously impress, unable to be taken on the run there by Elliot Daly. It's taken by Chile back inside of their own half. You can probably hear the frustration of Paul Grayson alongside me that Daly couldn't quite get to that. The bounce of the rugby ball in the end defeats England. And going in and trying to scrub away with that ball is Videla. Chilean scrum half. This whole Chilean team is a real mix. A lot of them have been professional in the build-up to this World Cup, but most of them are engineers, or they are training to be engineers. It's considered a very important educational pathway to success in Chile. So that is what most of them actually spend most of their time doing when they're not preparing for a World Cup. As the ball comes away now through Owen Farrell, as Sinclair lies down on the floor to get out of the way. Bit of dancing feet coming in this time by Ollie Lawrence. Ollie Lawrence, of course, voted Premiership Player of the Year as the ball goes forward on the floor, and it's a penalty. Hands on the floor there from that last contact, and Chile will get to clear their lines.
So England playing out of their own half. Same deal from the restart, came to the right-hand side. This time Owen Farrell puts a kick up in the air. Rodrigo Fernandez, who's the fly-half, sitting in a fullback position, 30 yards too deep. Elliot Daly's got a clear catch if he just goes for the ball. Completely loses ground expecting a Chilean player to come and challenge him. Ends up flapping one hand at it, which is my size. Chile missed touch again, which is not helpful. Although Marcus Smith calls mark in his own 22, which takes some pace out of the game and means everybody's got to run back 40 yards to be behind him.
Yeah, I'm not sure the England forwards will be particularly happy about that, but it's there are a lot of good things here, a lot of good things from England here. Yeah, there has to be a slight caveat though. You know, the Chilean defence is that little bit softer. When England were exiting their 22 and Ribbons is on the charge, no one's going to meet him to smash him on the gain line. He's getting over the gain line quite easily, and therefore the rucks are quicker and they are more positive, and therefore England can play on the front foot. So it is more like a training run. And I know that sounds disrespectful. I don't mean it to sound disrespectful, but that's how England can use this game. So the players are used to it. They have the energy, they have the visuals of where to attack and when to attack, because it will stand them in good stead in games to come.
Well, the bigger sort of moan that went up from the crowd was the ball was knocked on after a long kick down the field by Chile. So it's given England a scrum on the far side of the field, inside of the Chile half. It is predominantly England fans that are in here, but there are big pockets of Chilean fans wearing red that we can see around this stadium. It's at 50,000 capacity. It's normally Lille Olympique that play here in Ligue 1. But it is all about the Rugby World Cup this weekend, as Malins now has it for England. He tucks the ball underneath, gives it to Smith. He's running through heavy traffic. He's on his own as well, pops off the ball. Arriving is Willis. Willis pondering his way forwards, waits for Kerr to gather the ball, looks up. Lawrence is there. This is quicker from England. Ribbons, who had extensive treatment not too long ago, is back and lively. Kerr goes on his own again. It didn't quite look like Ludlam and Willis were ready for the ball. They'd slightly overrun it. And comes back now for Willis to play scrum half. Dan, one of England's try scorers, he goes forward. 10 metres for England to go, and they've got penalty advantage as well. Thumping run into contact from Sales, Bevan, Rod, and back inside. They're keeping this really tight in the centre of the field at the moment, England. They're not stretching the attack for the time being. And it's slow ball again. Everyone's making their runs. And by the time Danny Kerr is looking up to see who's there, they've almost gone too far. It's not quick ball from England. It's quite frustrating to watch this as it comes to Ribbons again. He's still a metre short. Surely something is coming, but you may have time to make a cup of tea. We just can't tell. Right then, here's Farrell. Popped off to Ludlam this time. That's brilliant defence from Chile. Two men come in to push him backwards. England now up to 9 phases. Still no try, and it's sloppy. They have to push it out back to Daly. Smith is all the way back to the 22-metre line, and he's caught by Chile. This England attack is not composed in any way, shape or form. They did have the penalty, they'll come back. But at times, this is hard to watch England in attack. Oh, they've gone quickly through Theo down. They need the pass out wide. It's Arundel again. He'll go over for the double. They managed to catch Chile napping, so eventually they do get their try. It goes up to England 17, Chile 0, but it takes a while.
Yeah. It's going to sound a bit monotonous, and I apologise, and I think England will, the penny will drop. But the moment these England players go individually and think that they can do it themselves, they're picking the wrong opportunities. At the moment, people like Danny Kerr, Marcus Smith, they're playing themselves out of the 23 because they're not making the right decisions. There's no question that they've got the physical ability, but they've got to pick the right times. And on that occasion, it was on for the quick tap penalty to go wide, and Arundel score in the corner. Perfect. But there's too many poor decisions being made, which is making it scrappy.
Yeah, when they broke on down the right-hand side initially, Marcus Smith had a good ball for an outside arc, and Henry Arundel was on his right-hand side. Smith stepped off his right, and I could sense from you that you were like, when you hit that hole as a fullback, you know that your right wing is the guy to go looking for. A little bit of inexperience. He got the ball, fancied the run, stepped off his right. More instinct than actually understanding the theme of what's happening from that situation.
Well, Marcus Smith can create something from nowhere, but he also reads the game so well that there's nothing wrong with making a half gap or a half step, using the winger, and then go in support and let the winger take the traffic and look for that offload and look for the space back in. But at the moment, and I love his endeavour, I love his energy, but he's dying with the ball every single time.
England 17, Chile 0 as the ball is restarted by England, who are inside their 22. So let's quickly check in with John Murray, who's going to be looking at Brentford against Everton for us at 5:30. Thanks, John Murray. That one coming up at 5:30. Full commentary here on 5 Live. Don't forget, later it'll be full commentary of Ireland against South Africa at the Rugby World Cup in Paris, that one. Being billed, of course, as the Pool B decider. Could those two meet once again later in the tournament as well? 1 versus 2 in the world. It's going to be a cracker. Chris Jones, our correspondent at that one, alongside Tommy Bowe, as the ball goes down to ground there from England. It's still in hand there by Ollie Lawrence, though he hasn't knocked it on, as Farrell has it. Back out the door, pass there by Malin, still coming down the line. Arundel's got 2. Could he get 3? He's having to get a messy ball. Support coming in by Marcus Smith. England attacking inside of the Chile half. It's England 17, Chile 0 here at the Rugby World Cup in Lille. This Pool D clash between 6th in the world against 22nd in the world. Chile billing this one as the biggest game in their history in the build-up, as they managed to jump on a loose ball. It's knocked on by England, who sometimes their attack has been very slow, as it comes away down this near side. Going into contact this time is Cristobal Game. A late call up again, his first appearance at the Rugby World Cup. Down on the ground, Chile ballers, they get themselves out of the 22, 15 metres away from this near side. If you want to keep across everything at the World Cup, don't forget we've got Rugby Union Daily, podcast available every single day of this World Cup. You won't miss anything as Marcus Smith tries to work his way in and out of Chilean defenders, having gathered the high ball. England back on the attack, still at the right end of the field. Farrell goes into contact. Only got 1 of his 3 kicks at goal so far, as Daly has numbers out on the far side. Lewis Ludlam is out there. He files away. Still 10 metres short of the line. Quick ball comes in by Malins, who was playing scrum half. It's now Rod who's driving forward. Bevan Rod, about 30 centimetres short in the line. England looking for a bonus point. Popped up again. Rod is there again. Is he going to bundle his way over? Will it be held up? The referee is going to go and look. Try given. Bevan Rod over. England get a bonus point try. 34 minutes on the clock in Lille. And already England looking to try and keep the scoreboard ticking over.
Yeah, I mean, listen, England are in 3rd gear here. There is a great opportunity for England to really step through those gears, get into 4, 5, 6, really start enjoying themselves. Chile are, they're at 6s and 7s. Anything past, I don't know, what do you think, Grace? 3 phases, they're in trouble?
Yes, absolutely. And that time, from a box kick from Chile, Marcus Smith caught the ball as the Argentinian number 14, Cristobal Game, chased in. Smith stepped in back towards the touchline. England then attacked the line hard twice through Owen Farrell, an inside ball, and then Farrell again before they went wide to Lewis Ludlam on the outside, and they were round Chile. Chile were in trouble, space everywhere. But the discipline that you've talked about, you want them to go through the gears but maintain their shape. We hear it all the time from professional players. They take shape to the line. They've got attacking shape. It's about how the players line up. It means you've got 4 or 5 different options from any one setup. England need to keep doing that, picking the right options. They will absolutely obliterate Chile, but it has to be to their own advantage and to their own benefit.
Well, if anyone's not watched Chilean rugby before, and I'm assuming that's quite a lot of people out there, what they do is they tend to play most of their rugby in a competition called Super Rugby Americas, which is 7 teams from across South America, also one that plays in America themselves called the American Raptors. So there's 7 sides that play in a round robin. And it's all about getting the more regular game time, but it's still considered a club competition, a bit like Super Rugby that you'd see played between Australia and New Zealand and the Pacific Island nations. So they're really trying to develop that competition at the moment, as there's another miscommunication. I don't think Max Malins is really going to enjoy watching the highlights reel off the back of this first half so far. But the standard of that Super Rugby Americas competition is been compared by a lot of people to what you would see below the championship in England. So that's the sort of level they're used to playing against. There's a couple of players who play in France's Pro D2. Their captain, Martin Segren, he's played at Doncaster Knights in the championship. He was the first ever Chilean player to have a full-time professional contract in the UK. So they're just not getting that regular high level of rugby, and looks like we're just waiting for a penalty here for Chile in the middle of the field, and it's a chance for them to finally get a decent bit of field position here that they haven't had for a long time.
If they make touch, they keep missing touch
Yeah.
from the penalties that they've had. Get the ball off, give yourself a chance to go. Their line out hasn't been brilliant. They've only had a couple of opportunities, but they get the ball back in midfield from another little bit of messy England play. England did pretty well to get the ball out to the far left-hand side. Elliot Daly fading to the outside, trying to use his pace. Malin's called for him to drop him under on a switch. And then two full-time professional players couldn't pass the ball 2 feet from one to the other. It went behind them, scrabbled back to Marcus Smith, who chipped it away. Chile end up with the penalty.
It's Francisco Uroz, who does finally find touch for Chile. Quite a safe one as well. That's going to be just outside of the England 22. It's England 24, Chile 0, and Chile with the line out then just a couple of metres outside of where they actually want to be. Slowly making his way up there, Augusto Borme, wearing his red boots, gets ready to go again. Quite a few mullets in this Chilean team, being fashioned and worn very well, we should say. There's a skullet in the Chilean team as well, but he hasn't been actually selected today, which is always disappointing. Now finally, they get going on this line out more. It's at the back at the moment. Borme has it, tucked up the jumper, but England are doing well to make sure this does not go anywhere. Referee Jaco Piper just directing traffic from side to side. It's not really gone anywhere here from Chile. It's been taken in, it's gone down to the ground, and straight away England ball.
It's a shame for Chile there, just showing their lack of experience. The ball was available at the back of the maul, and England just suckered them into carrying on going for an extra half a yard. Once they ran out of energy, it limply went to the ground. England just sit on top, make sure the ball's unavailable, and they get possession back.
Yeah, that's a real shame. Real shame. I think not only would it have been great for Chile just to have that ball on the front foot, it was a nice driving trundle just to give an opportunity for Fernandez to let the back line go. But from England's perspective, as much as you want to score tries, you also want to see what England are like in defence, under pressure, last ditch, get that white wall solid across the field. But no, a good exercise now for England to exit in a manner.
A minute to go until half-time. It's England 24, Chile 0. Paul Grayson, you played in a match between England and Uruguay in 2003 that finished 111 to England to 13 against Uruguay. How do you get into that ruthless mindset when you come up against a side like this?
We said from the off that we were going to play at a pace they couldn't live with. We were going to stick within our structures. We're going to be accurate, skillful, and the opportunities and the walk-ins would come, and they did.
And here's an opportunity for England, a hack through from Marcus Smith. Oh, it goes up into his arms. That's wonderful work from Smith. That's what England want to see. That's the kind of try-scoring opportunities he can see from full-back when the space comes out, and a nice kick through straight into his arms. A fifth try for England. They now lead 29-0.
Yeah, but listen, his energy, Marcus Smith's energy in this first half has been... It's actually been quite inspiring, I think, for the rest of the players. And yes, he hasn't made... Every decision has not been perfect by any stretch, but his energy and the time on the ball and the focus that he gives England and the intent that he gives England, I genuinely think does inspire the team. And on that occasion, it was an individual try. It was a lovely incising break and a grubber through to retain the ball. But that's the decision. You want him to make sure that that execution happens every single time that he has the ball in his hands.
Instinctive, good interception from George Martin, stepped in, plucked the ball, England recycled, Farrell took it to the line, good line from Smith off his shoulder, immediately put it on the toe because there was nobody home, because it came from a turnover. Chile on all-out attack, so nobody at the back of the shot. Brilliant kick, great pace that we know he's got, lovely finish.
Well then, Owen Farrell will have the last act of this first half then to try and take England over the 30-point mark. He's right on the far side touch, takes his run up, uses that right boot. He's got 2 from 4 so far, and he has got that one, so he goes in just slightly up on the odds at 3 from 5. Hasn't quite been the Marcus Smith show in the first half, but it could turn that way in the second. 5 tries for England. Arundel, Theo Dan, Arundel again, Rod and then Smith. Half-time here in Lille. It's England 31, Chile 0. As we just wait for both sides to make their way down the tunnel then. England heads are up so far, but there are still just those moments where the clarity is not clear. Can we forgive that slightly in this performance, knowing that a lot of these players haven't featured yet in this World Cup?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's a very positive first half. There were always going to be those types of teething issues because of that reason. So you're right, players coming in, first game, first opportunity to wear the World Cup jersey, different combinations, probably hasn't had a lot of time in training to be together, and everyone wants to impress. It's a very different mindset to those going into a game against Argentina or Japan. But overall, I think the last 20-25 minutes has been pretty darn good actually from England.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And that the shape and the width and the pace grew post 20 minutes. The only frustration for me is England's most experienced player on the pitch, Danny Care, went off script early doors in that first 20 minutes, and England lacked rhythm. And when you're like the guy who knows more about it than everybody else, bar probably Owen Farrell, is right at the heart of it, has had 4 cracks at a break, done nothing, slowed England down, they've lost their shape. And that's slightly my frustration, because he should know better than that. He should know, he's played in games like this where you do know that actually just holding your shape will pick the opposition apart. You might have to be slightly patient, but yeah, that was, you probably sense my frustration in commentary, because he genuinely should know better.
Well, Ian McGeechan would always say to the scrum halves that he coached that you never ever force the break around the fringes. It will become very, very obvious. The options are you pass the ball or you run 100 miles an hour. They're the 2 options that you've got when you're on the hoof, and it just looks at the moment that Danny is sort of prescribing that, there might be a break on here if I throw a little dummy and I go, opposed to his natural ability to scoop the ball up and just go and disappear.
Just a quick word on Chile before we have a break for half-time. Penalties conceded 8 to England's 3. They haven't won a line-out. There's a lot in this that we have to say. They are not used to playing rugby of this level, and it is showing, and it is a big problem for them to maintain this game. They haven't had a yellow card yet, but already in this World Cup they've had 4. This is something that is quite simple. They're just not exposed to this standard of rugby, and you can almost forgive them for that. Completely.
There's been some in the opening quarter. Chile played some fantastic rugby when everyone's fully fit, when nobody's blowing. They got some energy in their legs. They stole the ball in contacts. Garafulic in the centre had a brilliant half of 50-22. Chile could have scored in the first. Well, they had the first best chance to score. So yeah, absolutely, they are going to run out of energy. They are going to make some basic mistakes. We saw Fernandez make a howler in defence when he was defending on the wing from a set piece, gave England a walk in. Stuff like that's going to happen. Absolutely no lack of endeavour and physicality from them to the level that they're capable of, which will be 30 or 40% less than England over the entire piece. So yeah, no downside there. They are trying their best,
and it will be a special World Cup moment if and when they score their try. And that's not meaning to sort of belittle or be slightly condescending towards Chile against this England side. If they score a try, that's a decent achievement for Chile, because it's not going to be easy. England are not just going to sit there and think, oh well, we're just concentrating on attack. They will want to nil this team.
And also, kind of reading around it, and the Chilean team and the rugby union heritage in the country, they watch the Premiership. They watch these guys every week. They're the people they aspire to be like. Now they're getting to play against them. I mean, the fact that they go to English schools ostensibly, and I read somewhere that they had to sing the national anthem every Friday, God Save the Queen. So this is a massive deal for them because they've got a foot in English rugby already. So you can't knock them for their lack of experience. The effort levels are everything they've got.
Paul Grayson, Matt Dawson, thank you so much for your time for the first half. I'm going to let these two have a cup of tea. If you're listening on BBC Sport Online, don't worry, we will be back for the second half. But that is it for now for half-time. It's England 31, Chile 0. Well, welcome back to listeners on BBC Sport Online as we bring you our coverage of England against Chile at the Rugby World Cup. Half-time, England 31, already with a bonus point, 5 tries, Chile 0. Now, it's the first time Chile have actually gone in at half-time with no points on the board so far in this tournament. But with the amount of changes they have made coming into this match against England, it's perhaps not too surprising that they might have already run far too many races at this World Cup already. They described this match-up with England as the greatest match in their history so far. Well, so far not quite gone to plan. Can they try and find something? And can England even take this to another level? Described earlier on in this match by 2003 World Cup winner Matt Dawson as England having not even got out of third gear. Alongside him as well, I've got 2003 World Cup winner Paul Grayson. And Paul, what do you think will have been said to England at half-time when I tell you that Marcus Smith has made the most carries, he's made the most metres and the most kicks from hand? Does it get the ball to Marcus?
Well, clearly, that's the second half of the first half, that 20-minute burst. England got the ball into the right areas of the field, not by going straight there, but by working through the phases, which ultimately you want Marcus Smith on the ball, on the front foot, with a little bit of space to manoeuvre, and he's shown a little bit of what he can do.
Well, we're about to get underway then. Chile travelling from left to right, kickers back off in this second half, taken by George Martin for England on the right-hand side of the field. Can't spot any changes to either side at the moment, but as soon as we do, we will let you know. Right then, it's a Chilean stolen ball, but the referee says no in from the side. So they thought they'd broke away there through Alfonso Escobar, but it's going to come back now. England penalty inside of their own half. Cheer to clear down this left wing. Owen Farrell with the ball in hand. Now, from his kicks at goal, he got 3 from 5 in the first half. And we will be focusing on that a lot after the performance, particularly of George Ford in the early 2 matches. And it will be interesting to see when George Ford is actually introduced in the second half, Matt Dawson.
Yes, yeah, will it be a straight swap, or will we start to see any kind of axis that Steve Borthwick wants it, that 10-12 Ford-Farrell position?
Theo Dan not straight at the line out. That's frustrating when you've got an easy penalty from the initial maul. Basic skill errors like that are a little red flag to the coaches. Meat and drink, not challenged in the air, just a miscue.
Well, England are holding Chile to 0. Worth also saying they didn't actually concede a try against Japan either, so there's a few feathers in the cap there for the defence coach Kevin Sinfield. And despite that Tom Curry red card in their opening fixture against Argentina, their discipline has been good. 6 penalties against Japan, 7 against Argentina, so 6.5 a game is pretty good for a Tier 1 nation. They'll be delighted with that. We are keeping a close eye on the Chilean penalty count, though, which is now up to 9. As a penalty for Chile. Warning there against Bevan Rodd, who walks away.
Sorry, it's a free kick, not a penalty. I did not hear him right. Yeah, free kick.
Okay, so the message came in from the near side touch judge for the infringement. It's not a penalty, it's a free kick for Chile. And they're going for the scrum again. They did have the option originally that they could have gone for the line-out, but the line-out's been a bit of a mess for Chile so far.
I'm not sure that's the right decision, Chilean rugby fans. It's given England an opportunity now to rectify what was going wrong in that front row, Bevan Rodd. You can imagine a huge amount of pressure coming through the Chilean side now, rather than even just a tap and go or an up and under or get the ball in play.
Well, they're about to pat back down. All eyes now on Bevan Rodd, who actually found out this week. He's also Scotland qualified, and his parents both played volleyball for Scotland. So you learn something new every day as it's being pushed around this far side, and England win the penalty. Exactly what Matt Dawson said there. It was a risk going for the scrum again. England get the penalty. This is within kicking range. Not that England will be at all interested in that. Owen Farrell's about to dump it in the corner.
Yeah, exactly as Dawes just said. Bevan Rodd giving a second bite of the cherry. Deitus got him the first time. Looked like Deitus hinged this time. Bevan Rodd keeps his back straight, drives in. Deitus collapses and goes backwards. England drive it into the, well, not quite the corner. You'd want that 5 metres from the line, it's probably 7 metres out.
Well, we saw a big slam down on the desk there by the Chilean coach, Pablo Lamana. He's actually a Uruguayan as the ball comes down to ground through ribbons, and that's been taken down by the Chileans, so we're playing penalty advantage to England. 5 metres out from the line, it's messy on the floor again. Slow ball coming in from Kerr. This time finds Sinclair. They need it quickly. Options on either side. Kerr looking up. Still not quick ball. It goes to Billy Vunipola, who's pushed backwards. I mean, the ruck speed from England in these close quarters just isn't fast enough, and it's stolen by Chile, but it's penalty advantage to England. And the referee's going to his pocket.
At the line out. No, you cannot dive at that player's leg. It's seriously dangerous, please.
Yeah, it was back to the infringement at the line out. Sarah, where Chile sacked the line out dangerously, diving for the legs in the maul. It is. You can either one-on-one tackle the ball carrier to the deck before the maul has been set up, but when the maul's travelling like that and set ready to go, it's very, very dangerous. Just as well though, because cheapers did Billy Vunipola get a hospital pass from the base of the ruck that got smashed.
Well, it was Maurice Deitus who has now gone off the field. Chile playing with 14 as we see the line-out function once again for England. They're keeping this one in the maul this time. They're still on their feet. This is close to the line. It's surely going to go over. England for a 6th try. Touchdown, try given. Is it going to be Theo Dan who goes over again? Yes, it is. He gets his 2nd of the match. 6 tries now for England, who extend their lead. It's England 36, Chile 0 with a conversion to come.
Yeah, there's not a fat lot Chile can do about that when they've got 8 forwards on the field with 7 just losing their tight head to the sin bin. Just means that England score fractionally quicker. Good drills though. Quick throw to the middle, taken by Ribbons, and they drove it in as soon as they felt the soft spot was inwards towards the posts. Everyone piled in behind, kept their shape. Legs pumping, drive for the line as Owen Farrell converts the try. Back to Billy Vunipola getting smashed there. What did the 9 do wrong, Matthew?
Yeah, I mean, Danny just needs to get the ball away. I'm not sure why he's hesitating so much at the base of the rucks. Just needs to get it away quicker, really.
Okay, it's England 38, Chile 0. We'll be giving an update to 5 Live shortly as we just wait for Chile to approach the restart. Rodrigo Fernandez there wearing his yellow boots, just bouncing the ball away, probably wondering now how they're going to get any foothold in this game with 14 on the field. Waiting for the ball to come down for England. It's Martin who has it for England, just outside of their own 22. Kerr just asking for an extra forward to come in so they can caterpillar this one away. Uses his full amount of time. High box kick into the air. We're about to give that update shortly. It's England 38, Chile 0. Chile reduced to 14. Their tight head prop now in the bin. England have gone over for another try, 6 now in total after Theo Dan was at the bottom of a maul from a line out. Alongside me, 2003 World Cup winner Matt Dawson. England have come out and they're just feeding off Chile mistakes.
Yeah, look, very precise. Obviously had a good half time there, regroup, going through the motions, stepping it up, much more accurate. Yeah, I think it's going to be a fairly comprehensive. Go on, let's go 60, 70 points.
Well, there you go. There's the prediction from Matt Dawson. You can follow the match on the BBC Sport website. It's England 38, Chile 0. As the ball keeps coming away down this near side. Danny Kerr almost caught there at the back, does come away with it, gives it now to Sinclair. Marcus Smith feeds Willis. Willis looks up. Rod could have been away there, didn't want to take the contact, was looking for the pass. Hacked on in the end by Daly. It's a foot chase on the floor. The Chilean player manages to get back there, but Arundel's there. Arundel goes over for a hat-trick. Henry Arundel is in all the right places at the right times at this World Cup as England rank up try number 7.
Nice play from England there. Owen Farrell from first phase belted the ball straight down the middle of the field, putting the pressure on the Chilean back three. They kicked it back, which meant England were on all-out attack. Farrell caught the ball, attacked down the left-hand touchline with Lewis Ludlam. They got on the front foot. Smith jumped in at 10, played a little ball out the back. England hit once more, recycled Farrell, and then Elliot Daly saw that the Chileans were all over the shot in the backfield, slid it through. Nice kick, nice finish.
Well, and that is the way to play the kicking game, isn't it? On the front foot, a stressed defence, Grace. That's the time to use it as an attacking weapon.
Completely, an enterprise from the back, getting the ball back from Chile where they wanted it, England, so they could attack, manipulate that back three. They've got other options on too. They picked the right one. A good finish, ruthless that bit.
I've just seen, Sarah, just watching Owen Farrell should really be knocking those over and coming back, but I've just seen George Ford and Ben Youngs, here we go, running back from doing their warm-up drills under the post, stripped down straight away on for Elliot Daly and Danny Kerr, so we will see that combination.
Well, we're assuming that Ollie Lawrence then will move out to 13 as Ben Young comes on to replace Danny Kerr, as Matt Dawson just said there, and so George Ford will slot into that fly half position. Worth mentioning that as Owen Farrell slots that conversion, he's now on 1,172 points, and that means he is now just 5 away from that record by Johnny Wilkinson. Right then, we'll be giving another quick 10-second update to 5 Live shortly as the ball comes away there for Chile, pushes out towards the far side. Still Chilean ball, and they're running like a train down that left-hand wing. They're inside of the England 22. Ball comes back this time towards Bomé, the hooker. Remember, Chile still playing with 14 on the field at the moment, as England now has 7 tries on the board. Still Chilean ball. South Americans just chill, trying to make inroads inside of the English 22, more forward power, but England doing well to just push them back. They're not going over the gain line for the time being. 50 minutes on the clock here, and still 4 minutes on that Chilean bin. But Chile have got a penalty here. They need to take their time and think about what they're doing.
I would disagree with you, Sarah.
But they've got a man in the bin.
But hey, I think there is a slimmer chance of going to the set piece. They're not that great with their line-out. They haven't been that good with their scrum. It's a great opportunity for Chile to be scoring points. It's got to be a broken game. That's a tap-and-go situation. Whether you've got 14 men or 13 men, Chile have got to throw the kitchen sink from a broken field position.
And with a kick to touch like we've just seen from Francisco Eros, that's not going to get you too close to the line. That was an easy one that should have been 5 metres out, and they're now about 8 or 9 metres. It's a long way away. Eros not on point there. England 45, Chile 0. So it is still a Chilean line out, but nowhere near where it should have been as it goes high into the air. That one is good from them, taken in the end in the air by Iceman. Big push backwards by England, so Chile, they need to get that ball out of there as quickly as possible. They managed to eventually. A few more backs arrive just to try and shore this up. Chile playing with 14 on the field and going absolutely nowhere inside of the England 22. Head down there by the captain, Sigurn. Plays his rugby at the Doncaster Knights. Waits for it to come back towards the right-hand side of the field. Not over the gain line again. England just quite happily to just suck up every Chilean that comes towards them in this line. Sigurn goes again. He's got support in from Iceman this time. But it's just not penetrating in any way. They're going to try and put a bit of space on this. A little bit of juggle in the midfield there by Galafucci. And it's still on the 22, side to side for the time being. Escobar now. England are getting in. They're going to try and rip that one away. Better. It's still England 45, Chile 0. 7 tries now, a hat-trick for Henry Arundel, but a man still in the bin for Chile, who are playing with 14 on the field. Still 2 minutes of that yellow card left to play. England 45, Chile 0. Worth saying George Ford is on the field alongside watching Matt Dawson. Exciting to see these 3 fly halves in action. Yeah,
will we see that as a pattern going forward? Because Marcus Smith, obviously scoring his try at the end of that first half. He's very lively. Oh my goodness me, that was nearly a high tackle from Marcus Smith. I hope he wasn't listening to me. But yes, seeing Ford and Farrell together, it probably does say so, doesn't it? That's what Steve Borthwick wants to see in the latter parts of this tournament.
52 minutes on the clock. England 45, Chile 0. Far side of the field. This is really messy play from both sides. No one is taking control of the situation at all. It is Chilean ball as they attack forwards. It's Mateus Garafilch who goes forwards, waits for it to reappear. His scrum half, Benjamin Videla, managing to replace Marcelo Torrebalda, who was dropped for this game with all those changes that their head coach Pablo Limone made in the build-up to this. Chile still have it. Billy Vunipola is just trying to hold on to him by his bootstraps at the moment, as Chile have it back around the halfway line. Middle of the field, nice hands coming in by the Chileans, huge tackles coming in by Jack Willis, who's trying to make his impact on the game at the moment. Willis, of course, now playing his rugby at Toulouse. He won the top 14 with them, will be going back there next year as well. And going over the top, that's another penalty given away by England, and the Chileans, they're starting to cramp up.
Well, yeah, and Matt just signalling there that it was a good opportunity to tap and go. Unfortunately, just as he thought that and indicated it, 3 of the Chileans went down to stretch their calves because they're goosed. And as much as there's some of it's a little bit messy, the Chileans have actually got decent shape. They clearly understand how to play the game. Yes, they're losing some physical battles, but they're playing with some decent endeavour. They're making the odd half break here and there. England getting a little bit of a workout defensively as a raft of changes come off the England bench.
Yeah, Jack Walker, Joe Marler, Will Stewart, Ollie Chesham, all on in one fail swoop. So that's a completely fresh front row, and Lewis Ludlam is making way there. So there's going to be a little bit of a shuffle around there of who actually ends up in that back row. So Ludlam has certainly impressed in his time so far at this World Cup. He's become a very safe pair of hands, hasn't he, Lewis Ludlam? Doesn't always get the credit he deserves.
He's one of those players that yes, always 10 out of 10 effort, but generally not much under 7.5 out of 10 performance. So as a coach, you're looking at a guy who's never going to let you down. There's one right there.
Lewis Ludlam, most metres made of all of the forwards so far in this match, as we are now on 54 minutes. He's made 53 metres. The next closest to him is Willis, who's on 32. Billy Vunipola playing 8 today, only made 19 metres from 4 carries. They're the sort of numbers that you'd like to see a bit higher.
They've passed a few times, and obviously the nature of this game, there aren't that many hard yards because they play 2 phases to get a break.
Chile then with the line-out managed to scoop the ball away. Nice little run round the back there by Bomé, the hooker. We're saying that the bin is now over there, back up to 15 Chile. Loose ball on the floor gathered by England. Farrell has it, quickly sends it down the field. Chile forced to turn and gather the ball. Underneath it now is Game. He's got support there by Uros. Uros goes forwards, eludes the first tackle. It was Arundel raining down on him. It's Lawrence who's pushing him back inside. This is nice by the Chileans, who are holding on to the ball. Somehow on the ground, it's gathered again by England. And the fresh legs of Chesham now pushing it forward on the ground. England back in attacking formation, this time in the Chilean half. Marler, he pushes forward. The Harlequins prop, of course, won the Premiership with them now twice. Little bit of a show and go there by Farrell. Manages to get it to Malins, who hacks it on. It's back inside of the Chilean 22. They go down to ground to gather. Malins goes and gets his man. Knows he has to get back on his feet. Warning from the referee. And Chile now in a bit of a tricky spot. Just watching the England backfield. George Ford is all the way back there at the moment in the middle. Smith covering the left. And on the far side is Arundel on the right. So we are just checking which formation England are in at the moment. It's going to come down to Smith, who takes it on the run, gives it to Ford, run round by Smith, and they're going to say no.
So there's a takeout by number 8 Reid.
We're listening to the referee.
Okay, and that was before that ruck over there. Halfway line. Okay.
Yeah, coming all the way back for an infringement
Number 8
by
Reid.
Chile.
Take a player without the ball over there. So penalty over there. Thank you.
Well, that was quite a while ago when that infringement happened. We've been playing a lot of advantage between now and then, but it will be an England ball after the directions been given to Jaco Piper. He's gone on an incredible mazy walk to get to the right point. But it's an England penalty, and it's in the hands of Owen Farrell to send it down this near side touch.
It was a shame, that, wasn't it? Because from that clearance from Chile, it was an opportunity for Marcus Smith, who fed it into George Ford, little wraparound ball. Arundel coming in there to support the line as well. Yeah, I mean, we're seeing a rerun of that. It didn't look like there was necessarily too much contact, or was there a stray arm, Paul Grayson, that you saw?
Yeah, but maybe it was somebody running off Billy Vunipola. The one thing about that attack for me was England had got on the front foot, and then Billy Vunipola was 7 metres deep, passing the ball backwards to Owen Farrell. Even though they got on the outside against a better organised defence, you're not going to get that much room.
Chesham has the ball, manages to feed it away. Vunipola now on the charge, 4 metres short of the line. England looking for try number 8 at the moment here at the World Cup. Not to be, holding on the floor by Vunipola. It's a Chilean penalty to clear 5 metres from their own line.
Yeah, Billy needs to step his game up. If he's going to stay on this field for the next 23 minutes, he really does need to step up his game. He's got huge competition in that back row. Ben Earl playing out of his skin at the moment in that 8 jersey. And at the moment, it's loose. It's sloppy. It's not the Billy Vunipola that we saw 4 years ago, trucking it up, taking on South Africans, New Zealanders. It didn't matter. Whereas it just feels a bit lackadaisical at the moment from Billy.
Well, Chile do clear their lines down towards this near side touch. If you want to keep everything going in the World Cup, if you think I want more all the time, well, of course, we'll give you more is the good news to that. Don't forget the Rugby Union Daily is available on BBC Sounds or wherever you get your podcasts every morning in your inboxes. And that's where you will find myself, Paul Grayson and Matt Dawson tomorrow morning, along with all of the action that will have happened at 8 o'clock tonight at the Stade de France between Ireland and South Africa. That one kicking off at 8, full commentary on 5 Live. It's a loose ball on the ground, unable to be taken cleanly by Malins. It's Jack Walker of Harlequins who has to go back and gather. A number of forwards arrive to tidy things up. And Ben Youngs, England's most capped male player, comes forward to do exactly what he's made a career out of, a nice clean box kick down this near side and tapped backwards there by Malins. It is going to go out of play though on this near side, so we end up with a Chilean line out between the halfway and the 10 metre inside of the England half.
Sometimes get the feeling there's a right time to get in the air, flap the ball back. If it's down the left-hand touchline, you would expect it to be somebody outside the ball, tapping the ball back in play towards their own line. Malins has gone after the ball there down the left wing, jumped facing the touchline and slapped it into touch.
I think a lot of players, Grace, are worried about going up for that collision nowadays, for the yellow card or getting sent off. It's
a bit
of a lottery, isn't it?
Well, Rodrigo Fernandez, the fly half, gathers the ball, manages to get it away to Martinez, who's now on the field. Worth saying that Chile actually went for a 6-2 split on the bench in this match, wanting to put a little bit more forward power out there. And it's Fernandez who's going in just to cover a little bit of ruck work, so there's no fly half there at the moment for Chile. Someone else is going to have to stand in for distribution duties. Box kick eventually comes in by Videla. One of a number of these Chilean players who actually played 7s before they actually came and played 15s, is the impact they made as Malins tries to go through the guts of the park. Makes about 4 or 5 metres. They're pushing it towards the far side. Quick ball comes in by Ford, unable to be taken by Chesham. Nicely gathered off the floor there by Lawrence to tidy things up a little bit, but the opportunity is gone for England. They flooded down the far side. Here comes Arundel again. He's already got 3. Can he get 4? That's a lovely touch. If it does, he does manage to go down. Henry Arundel, 4 tries. He's been given his opportunity tonight. The back spasm is over, and he's enjoying his time in Lille. It's now England 50, Chile 0.
I seem to remember 20 years ago a certain right winger scoring a bucket load of tries. Was Jason Robinson on the wing that day?
Jason played, but I think Josh Lucy scored 5.
Oh, did he?
I
There
love
you go,
working
there's
with you
the
two.
challenge.
It's like you two play question and sport against each other sometimes. It's very enjoyable.
Can't let it go.
Right then, great try for Arundel, and let us not forget, Henry Arundel, 20 years old. The only sort of dampener we have to put on the fact when we talk about Henry Arundel in a white shirt is he's going to be playing for Racing next year, so enjoy him in a white shirt while you can.
Well, does he not get special dispensation because
He's
Irish-
fast. He's fast.
because Irish went out of business, so you kind of get a year's grace, do you, to find a job and actually ply your trade? Or
I suppose with Jack Willis,
Yeah,
there's
the
sets
same.
a precedent there, doesn't it? Really.
I think it was dispensation for last season. I don't think it's dispensation for this season coming up. So as the ball comes in there, it's slotted through the post there by Owen Farrell as he makes his... I'm checking my eyesight here. Was that Owen Farrell that kicked that or George Ford?
Owen Farrell.
It is Owen Farrell, good. They do have very similar haircuts out there, so... Owen Farrell is closing in on that record. We are going to make sure we are crossing. I'm relying on producer Victoria to make sure that she tells me when it's coming. It's England 52, Chile 0. 8 tries now chalked up for England and 4 tries from Henry Arundel. And it's been an impressive performance by the young man, Matt Dawson.
Yeah, wonderful to see. And a couple of them have been stroll-ins. But on that occasion, lovely finish, used the wheels, little chip over to gather the ball himself. He's in the right position at the right time, which, you know, as a winger is such an important part of the game. It would be wonderful for him to get the ball in some open space, 50, 60 metres to go, so we could see the turbochargers.
Henry Arundel, only 20 years old, missed the start of the World Cup with a back spasm, but he's here with a bang. 4 tries on the board to England's 8. It's England 52, Chile 0. Just an update there for 5 Live as Chile have just knocked on the ball on the floor. They're just going to empty a bit more of the bench here, Chile, and get some of those fresh legs back firing. Get to see Iñaki Gurachanga. He manages to come onto the field. Thomas Orchard comes on, no relation to me at all. And then Inaki Ayatza also comes in. I'm not aware of any Chilean blood in my family. I don't look it either. South American? No, certainly not. Right then. Ben Youngs has the ball, gets ready for both sides to pack back down once again. Of course, Ben Youngs, a Lions tourist in 2013, a 4-time Premiership winner with Leicester Tigers, playing at his 4th World Cup, gets to receive the ball back from Billy Vunipola. Forward pass to Marcus Smith. Miscommunication there between Youngs and Smith, and we will scrum once again for Chile.
England totally dominant in a scrum, 20 metres in from the left-hand touchline, about their own 10-metre line, pushing Chile back. They fake to play to the right, and then Ben Youngs turns back to the left. Marcus Smith has overrun him. Ben Youngs thinks, well, it's only a yard forward, I might as well chuck it anyway. Referee spotted it, not their finest moment.
You know, again, just the decisions and the leadership that's needed in the team. England know that they can destroy Chile. They don't need to drive them back. It's all very macho and full of bravado. Just control the scrum, give some really nice set-piece balls so the backs can go through some of their routines.
Well, Chile do manage to come over the ball from their own scrum, which happens for a while, and then there's a huge miss pass out wide, but they've got a penalty. And I think the forwards will be pleased with that, because some of the Chilean players never actually got back up off the floor after that last scrum. So they've just got to decide what they do with the ball here. There is quite a bit of cramp that's still been going around this Chilean side, despite the fact that they've emptied the bench now. Still a few England players that haven't featured off the bench yet. Joe Marchant still waiting, Ben Earl as well. As Chile decide they're going to go for the corner. Francisco Uroz once again lining up the flag.
Back to Matt's point about that scrum. When you've got your back line, you've got your 3 fly halves on the field. What you want is the ball in general play under your control, knowing where you're going, working through the phases, creating those shapes and giving those 3 players, Ford, Farrell and Smith, opportunities to make decisions, to make a basic fundamental skill error straight off the bat. It's just a waste.
Well, the crowd is getting a little bit twitchy, and Lille Dussault misses his man, gathered at the back by Walker. He smashes through a couple of red shirts. Forwards arrive. Youngs looks up, finds Ford. Ford to Farrell. That's what we've not been saying for quite a while now, but is that going to become the rhythm and the patter? Out towards the far side. Gathered out there by Ayatza. He's actually been the starting fullback throughout this tournament so far, but he's now had to take his time off the bench as the Mexican wave also go round the stadium here in Lille, and they're going to come back. I thought for a second there it looked like Jaco Piper was going to go to his pocket. It's just a Chilean penalty for now.
Dynamic carry from Ayatza, the replacement fullback. Stepped off his left from near the left-hand touchline and speared in field. England had already given the penalty away, so Chile get another go to knock this one into the corner. They could get to the 5-metre line here.
Well, Chile had to put in an incredible shift to actually get to this World Cup in the first place. They managed to knock out Canada first of all, then over 2 legs in a knockout match. They managed to beat the USA by 1 point, and it was an incredible try by fly half Rodrigo Fernandez, their fly half, that he basically bog-snorkeled his way to the line to get World Rugby's try of the year last year. A huge moment for them in their history. Since they got that qualification, they haven't won a game since. They have had fixtures in the build-up to this World Cup. It's not been easy for them, though. They've had a game against Namibia that they lost by a couple of points. They've played in Argentina 15, not Argentina itself. But this is a huge fixture for them, and this is a big moment. There's a little bit of treatment going on to one of the England players who's hidden from my vision at the moment, but hugely significant for them that they're here. And we'll have to say, South American rugby is on the rise, whatever the result here today.
I've been very impressed with their lines of running, their organisation, their patterns of play. I think Paul's already mentioned in this commentary, they know where they're supposed to be. They're not as finely tuned as, of course, as top-class professional rugby players, but they seem to be putting the energy in the right areas and attacking the right areas at key moments. So it is a fantastic tournament for the Chileans.
Okay, Chile managed to get away with the ball. They're firing forwards towards the England line, 5 meters to go, and that's pretty good work, I have to say, by Ribbons, who's worked his way round that, and Chile just can't use this ball quick enough in the maul. It's stuck in there. England have absolutely swarmed around them now. I can't see that coming out. Fair play if they do, but it's stuck in there. It's England ball.
Yeah, that's a shame. A little bit of fatigue, a little bit of cheekiness from the England second rows with their Mr. Tickle-like arms just going over the Chilean maul to make sure it just ties it in, and I suppose like the anaconda, just squeezing their prey. One last breath. No, I can drive it forward. No, you can't.
Yeah.
That's not coming out of there, and unfortunately the ball was swallowed up.
Well, Billy Vunipola is going off the field for England. Ben Earl comes onto the field. Billy Vunipola, 5 carries this afternoon, 28 metres made. He has won a turnover in there as well, but still getting a bit of rugby in his legs after he came off the bench, of course, in that last match for England against Japan. But it is Ben Earl who has been racking up the performances so far with England. Fascinating to see what the head coach Steve Borthwick does with England's final match, which of course is in 2 weeks' time, when they will be taking on Samoa. It'll be back here in Lille on Saturday the 7th of October. We're going to give another update to 5 Live in a few moments' time. So England still have one. I've just spotted, no, they haven't brought on Joe Marchant just yet. So they've still got one player on the bench to deploy if wanted. So Ben Earl packs down at the back of the scrum. He's now slotted in at number 8. England with the opportunity to get rid of the ball. 67 minutes played in Lille. England 52, Chile 0. Still the star of the show continues to be Henry Arundel on 4 tries so far, but England have been stuck down at the wrong end of the field for the last few minutes or so. They hack the ball on, gathered by Chile again, who are doing everything they can to get something on the board here. Matt Dawson.
Yeah, and they are putting every ounce of effort into it, but they're cramping up, they're getting tired. England are swarming in defence. You feel they're just moments away from a quick turnover for England and a couple of stroll-ins. I think England have progressed in this second half. I know maybe not on the scoreboard, but they look tight, they look organised. They just now need that opportunity to get the ball in their hands.
Still 12 minutes to play. It's England 52, Chile 0. And it's Chile with the ball, but they've knocked it on, and it's going to be an England ball. Here they get a chance to come on the counter. Look up, here's Ford. Ford manages to pass it out to Farrell. Spun out ball this time to Lawrence, who's got his ankles caught by a Chilean hand. Joe Marler straightens things up for the forwards. They're still playing between the 10 and the 22. We haven't seen an England attack like this for some time. This time rumbling forward was Chesham. Now Ford, Smith, manages to go forward. Chesham again, he places it just outside of the 22. A number of phases being worked through here. Ribbons goes down to the floor, looking for options, comes in from Youngs. Nice quick hands. There's Smith. He's straight through the gap. He's got support on his shoulder. It's going to be Arundel for 5. Well, it could have been the Marcus Smith show, but the headline act is Henry Arundel. Credit to Smith for the pass, for seeing the gap. But what an afternoon for Henry Arundel, 20 years old, 5 tries at the World Cup.
Yeah, what a difference George Ford makes though, Grace. Hitting the line so flat to the opposition and be able to get the ball through their hands with the right options.
Also the intelligence there from our bird's eye view at the top. You can see Farrell actually ended up clearing a couple of rucks there as Ford and Smith worked the pivot. They came out to the left-hand touchline. Ford passed behind the back. Smith fed the ball out wide. Once they got to the touchline, Smith got on his bike. Ford got on his bike. There was a nice short ball in the midfield to Chesham, made half a break, and by the time the ball was recycled, Ford was back on the ball. Smith was out the back. He straightened through the hole and was aware of where his right winger was. Henry Arundel outside him. And in a game like this, if your wingers had 3 or 4 walk-ins, it means you're playing reasonably well, creating the opportunity for him to stroll over.
We've been crying out for him for years with England. Where are those walk-ins, those opportunities? And you have to say, on more than one occasion, that incisive moment has come from Marcus Smith, where he's broken the line and made it really easy for a 2-on-1 or a pass over the top. He seems to be involved in those moments. Whether it's enough for Borthwick to be saying, go on then, go into 15 for a quarter-final of the World Cup, who knows?
Lovely hands from Ollie Lawrence, actually, who I didn't name-check, to put Marcus Smith through the hole. But all those interventions from Smith have come slightly wider than fly half, so he's not right in the face. He's got that little bit more time to make his decisions and use his physical attributes in the slightly wider channels. Ford adds pace.
Well, England have emptied the bench. Joe Marchant is onto the field. He's gone out onto the right wing because Max Malins has come off the field. There is the potential that the backfield play at the moment is there's a bit of a mistake there from England. It's been gathered though by Arundel, so it doesn't matter now. He's going to go all on his own on this near side. He's just nearly kept the ball in play. No, it's going to be a Chilean line-out. But keep a close eye now on this line-up for England in the backfield. So you've got Youngs at 9. You've got Ford playing at 10, Farrell outside him at 12. Then there's Lawrence. On the wings for the time being, you've got Arundel, and on the far side, Marchant at full-back Smith. Potentially, if they like Smith at 15, this could be something we see again.
Yeah, it's lots of moving parts, aren't there, as we come back for a Chilean line-out. Oh, no, Chilean penalty, I beg your pardon. Somebody, Henry Arundel was...
He played the ball from an offside position.
Yeah, I thought it just bounced off the ground into that space, but there you go. So Chile get another chance. But yeah, England want the ball back with this much changed back line, because already they've created more width and more pace in general with George Ford in the back in the hot seat of fly half than they necessarily had done in the previous hour.
Well, we're going to give an update to 5 Live in a few moments' time. But Chile, with that penalty, once again, they go for the corner. They could have kicked a penalty a number of times, but there's just absolutely no point in doing it now. I know they've got 0 on the board, but they want more than that, and they're not going to learn anything about themselves from kicking penalties in this. It's England 57, Chile 0 here. 72 minutes on the clock. Chile doing everything they can to try and get some points on the board. They're having absolutely no change from their money each time they're trying to maul this one away from a line-out. But all the talk has been about Henry Arundel, who's now gone over for 5 tries for England. Stunning stuff by the young man. But alongside me, Paul Grayson and Matt Dawson, some credit about the attack for England now that George Ford is onto the field.
Yeah, he's added genuine pace. Now they've got Ford with Farrell outside him at 12. They're playing with width, but George Ford, just his facility to move the ball across the front of defences and engage players is absolutely brilliant. It's freed up some great space and put Marcus Smith into the wide channels where he's wreaking some havoc.
Yeah, we can't get carried away. We're playing against Chile. However, the balance, the threat, the endeavour of England when they get the ball just looks so different with the shape of Ford, potentially Farrell and Smith at fullback. So some big decisions for Steve Borthwick coming up.
9 tries for England, 5 of them scored by Arundel. He will be the face on the back of the papers tomorrow, and there is still 7 minutes on the clock. England 57, Chile 0. Chile then with the ball, and again they've got another penalty, and they've gone quickly here, which is what Matt Dawson has wanted to see from them, trying to get some broken play from England. They have been stopped eventually by Marler, but they're going to come back, England not 10.
And there you go. Just all of a sudden the field is broken. You're going to make yardage. England not retreating 10. Ben Youngs makes a tackle on the Chilean scrum half-adela, and all of a sudden there's an opportunity to go deep into England's 22. I would love Chile to try one of their fancy moves that they've been practicing for weeks and weeks and weeks from the line out. They got no change with that drive in more, so let's see some bit of creativity to get the crowd absolutely going bonkers.
How much of that do you think is that their head coach, Pablo Lamona? You know, he's a former Uruguayan prop in his own right. He loves a bit of forward play. Do you think he's the one sending those messages on, saying go for them all again? Well, you're quite right. They need to give the ball to the backs. Let them have a go.
Yeah, I'm not going to tarnish every prop.
Oh, they've mucked up the line out. It doesn't matter, whatever happens. So balls come away now through Earl. England have it. I have to say, we've looked right a lot in this second half, and that's all credit to Chile.
I just want England to spin that. Got 3 forwards, 3 Chilean forwards in the defensive line. All 3 of the back 3 of Chile are back on the halfway line. They had 1 outside centre. I mean, that's just the opportunity. And I'm thinking, you know, get into the mindset of England are chasing the game in the quarter-final. Hopefully they're going to be ahead, but they might need a try from their own 22. So what are you going to do? What moves are you going to put out there? So you've got that confidence to do it from anywhere.
Well, it's Chile who got the ball back. Oh, it's so messy at the line out from Chile. It's been painful to watch at times. Jack Walker gathers it up once again. Jack Walker, a former England under-20s captain, Yorkshire-born, manages to get the ball, and here comes Marcus Smith again. He's got a bit of space. There's the hitch kick. He's off. He's got support on his shoulder. It's Youngs who's there as well. Back inside to Smith, who is eventually brought down to the ground. That's great tracking back by Chile. They need quick ball, England. It's Willis in the middle of the field. Now Earl going forward. There was space on the left-hand side. England white shirts screaming for it. Now Ribbons goes forward. This is laboured by England. Surely they are going to score, but it could have been done so much quicker if they'd have just put their heads up earlier. Pushed forward now, this time by Martin. 1 metre for England to go as they look for try number 10 in this Rugby World Cup Pool D clash against Chile. Penalty advantage now. England have got a free shot to get over the line, so they may as well just spin it out and use the backs. There it comes. It's a little bit of a pass. Eventually it's going to be Smith who goes over. The dummy came from Ford. Again, he's the one that makes the space. It's all about George Ford, but Smith gets his try.
And actually, I don't think it was really on to go right. There was sort of like a 3-on-3, 3-on-4 maybe. But that man, George Ford, just has the ball. 2 hands waving around like Harry Potter's wand, and everybody is just spellbound by what he's going to do with the ball. And his connection with Marcus Smith, Grace, on a couple of those occasions, actually, the previous break I think was as well.
Yeah, it's a nice setup for Ford around the halfway line. He's got an opportunity to go to the line with a good diamond shape around him, shows a dummy switch, straightens up and then pulls the ball out of the back to Smith, who steps off his right foot, makes a really good break. They should have had a walk in. Owen Farrell passed the ball to the short runner as opposed to missing him out. They would have scored after one phase in the left-hand corner. As it was, they recycled. And then when you get caught in that traffic, there's 2 players thinking the same. Smith goes, Ford, I beg your pardon, goes into the hole, hits the break. Smith follows him through. Lovely stuff.
Another update coming for 5 Live as Farrell lines up the boot. The conversion is there. That one is good. Right, Owen Farrell, I think, if he gets another kick, is about to break Johnny Wilkinson's record. I don't think it's on that occasion. Okay, England 64, Chile 0. They've got just 2 minutes left on the clock to play here, but now 10 tries for England. The last one was scored by Marcus Smith, but all made by George Ford out of absolutely nothing, Paul Grayson.
Yeah, lovely stuff from George Ford, flat at the line, manipulating defenders, holding the ball in two hands, and then having the nerve to wait for Marcus Smith to catch him up and score the try. Outstanding stuff from George Ford.
Well, England just working their way through now. You're going to stay with us here on 5 Live for the conclusion of this Rugby World Cup Pool D match. So England 64, Chile 0 as the ball is hacked down the field by England. We've been looking right a little bit too much in this second half. It's been about Chile for long periods, but in these last 10 minutes or so, England are really beginning to express themselves. As Marcus Smith, who has had a fantastic game, you have to say, at fullback, he's been put in spaces. He's been managing to find other people. He's made a lot of Henry Arundel's work look very sparkling this evening. Henry Arundel, 20 years old, on 5 tries. Those are the kind of things of young boys and girls' dreams as England start working their way forward once again. They want more out of this match as we go into the final minute. And through the middle goes Jack Willis for try number 11. Chile have nothing left to give here. It's going to be a huge score here for England. Alongside me watching Matt Dawson, England finally just making sure they are clinical, crisp and ruthless.
Yeah, floodgates are going to be open when you go through the pattern, you go through multiple phases in the 79th minute, and Chile have given everything, absolutely everything, and will be desperately disappointed that they're not on the scoreboard. But England have been pretty ruthless in this second half. You mentioned Marcus Smith there, who I think, stark contrast to the first half for me, probably had a little bit of a speaking to at half-time to say, listen, you do some amazing things, but distribute, go through the gaps, but then link, make the most of those opportunities that you're creating with your incredible footwork. And it's working. Just giving a high five to Kevin Sinfield there in the middle of the pitch with Marcus Smith, because I think it's a really effective move.
Okay, so Owen Farrell kicks that ball between the points. He's not broken Johnny Wilkinson's record today. He's still 1 point off of becoming England's top points goal scorer. That will come, no doubt, at another match at this World Cup, but a resounding performance eventually for England. It took them a while, but they have got there. The full time here is England 71, Chile 0. A final word from you, Matt Dawson, from England today.
Well, it was what was needed. It needed to be a huge score. It needed to be effective, great defence as well to nil any kind of opposition at international level. And I think there's real food for thought there in the camp to say, right, are there moments within this game that, do you know what, we should be doing this no matter what is at stake. This is how we can finish.
Wobbly first 20 minutes where the decision-making was poor, and then England found their feet. They played with width and pace. The second half, much cleaner, much more precision, but when Ford came on, the tempo went up. Him, Farrell, Smith, with a supply of ball, a real handful.
Final full time here then in Lille. It's England 71, Chile 0.